a strategic victory against the Islamic State group. The Syrian Democratic Forces have retaken the key city of Tabqa and its nearby dam from the jihadists. But not all NATO allies are celebrating. Turkey says the Syrian Democratic Forces, which are mainly comprised of Kurdish YPG fighters, are an extension of the PKK, a Turkish Kurdish rebel group fighting for autonomy since the 1980s. That's officially considered a terrorist organization. But Turkey has failed to convince its Western allies to regard the YPG in the same way. The US already provides it with air support and has defended its decision to arm the fighters, calling it the only force on the ground that can successfully seize Raqqa in the near future. The YPG is just one group among a myriad political parties and militias that represent the Kurds, spread across northern Syria and Iraq, parts of Iran and Turkey. They make up nearly a quarter of Turkey's population, 9.5% of Syria's, and 22% of Iraq's. Some of the groups ultimately seek to create an independent Kurdistan. Others want Kurdish autonomy within existing national boundaries. Many are at the forefront of the fight against the Islamic State group. In Syria, the YPG has been very effective at driving the jihadists back, despite continuous bombardment by Turkey. Meanwhile, in Iraq, Kurdish fighters come from rival parties, the KDP and the PUK. The PUK has links to the PKK in Turkey, while the KDP's leader is the president of Iraq's autonomous Kurdish region. The US has provided military assistance to them since the Islamic State group's 2014 Iraq assault. But the Americans' increasing support of the Kurds is putting more strain than ever on the US-Turkish alliance. Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan has urged the United States to reconsider and said he'll be taking it up with Donald Trump at a meeting next week.
For more, we're joined now by Armin Georgian. Armin, those forces now less than 50 kilometers from Raqqa.
Yeah, that's right. They now have, well, they're sitting basically on the main road that leads to Raqqa from Tabqa. Let me show you a map of Syria to show you who's in control where. So you've got the Kurdish forces in yellow at the top, Islamic State group in grey. Let's not focus on the other colours for now, but you can see there Tabqa just to the west of Raqqa, and of course Raqqa is the main prize for the Syrian Kurdish forces and indeed for the US-led coalition. The Kurdish forces are the most effective allies the US has, and the Pentagon underlined that today. The coalition releasing a statement this Thursday saying that that the Syrian Kurds have captured a key coordination hub, in the words of the Pentagon. Pentagon also drawing attention to an important aspect of all this, which is that the Syrian Kurds now control the dam around Tabqa, and there had been fears that ISIS would blow this up, flood the countryside around Raqqa, and make it much more difficult to pursue this advance. But now that the Syrian Kurdish forces have control of the dam, they can bring in the engineers to start repairing it to make sure that that problem doesn't slow up the advance going forward.
And on the sidelines of all this, and we'll be talking about it in the next hour in the France 24 debate, it's how the United States manages, on the one hand, this announcement of directly arming the Kurds, and neighboring Turkey, which is apoplectic in some instances. We saw there was a side meeting in London between the US and Turkish defense ministers during that Somalia summit. Yeah,
a 30-minute long summit between James Mattis and Binali Yildirim. According to the Pentagon, these were calm talks, but no confirmation of that from the Turkish side. Now, in terms of how the US is trying to manage these two contradictory, basically, positions, we had one answer to that, which is the US now offering to step up joint intelligence sharing with Turkey so that Turkey can better target militants. But of course, Francois, this
PKK militants.
That's right. Yeah. That's right. But this does not answer the fundamental Turkish fear in all of this, which is a Syrian Kurdish state emerging on Turkey's doorstep. And that's obviously the nightmare scenario for Turkey right now. Turkey again underlining that it wants Syrian Kurdish forces excluded from the attack on Raqqa, which is supposed to be happening soon. But it's clear, again, from today's Pentagon statement that the US really does value the Syrian Democratic Forces, the SDF. It's the only effective ground allies that they have. It really, the tone we're getting from Washington is that the US is not about to do Turkey's bidding and cut contacts with the SDF. Far from it. On the contrary, it looks like they're going to rely on them for the Raqqa offensive. So it doesn't look as though there's really a huge sort of room to mend, to sort of bridge this gap at that very important meeting, which happens next Tuesday between Recep Tayyip Erdogan and Donald Trump in the White House.
All right, we'll be talking about it in the debate. Many thanks for that,
Thank you.
Armin Georgian.